Hi, hello friends. So welcome to this new class again, and we are here to continue our discussion about the land. Yesterday we saw about different types of land, and today we will be seeing how to conserve, how to preserve or protect the land resources that we have. We know that we don't have much land, and all the land that is useful or available also is not that useful. Therefore, the little land that we have, we need to conserve it properly. We need to preserve it properly so that we can get maximum out of it. Otherwise, the land will become a waste, and we will have to push it away, which will be uninhabited later. So, in order to avoid such a unfortunate incidents or misfortune, we need to be careful every day of our life. How we use our land, how we how we preserve it, and so on. So you can follow your own textbook as well. Take page number 11, conservation of land resource. So there we will find that the population is growing. We have no doubt about it, and we are one of the countries with the highest population. So we need to realize that as the population is growing higher and higher or increasing, the demand for land also is increasing, because the people are increasing means they need place for cultivation, they need place for making house and so on. So, but we know the land is limited. As the population is increasing, we cannot increase the land. So, most of the places what the people are doing is they are encroaching into the reserve land. They are occupying the forest areas, or they are occupying the government land and so on. So that is what is happening. So we need to see that we do not destroy the common property like forests. We should not destroy the forests. And some of them are occupying the arable land. Arable land means cultivable land, land that is used for cultivation. Paddy field, we know it is filled with fresh mud and level it, and people make house there. And the paddy field is lost. Or some people encroach the forest, cut down the trees and make house there. So the forest is lost. So all these things are important. Therefore, we need to be concerned about losing our land. Otherwise, in the future, we will be without land. So we need to be careful. We need to know how to conserve it, how to use it properly, and so on. And let us see what are the methods to conserve the land. We said conserving land is very important, but how shall we conserve it? Or what are the methods for conserving the land and so on? That is what we are going to see now. So, the present rate of degradation of land must be checked. So, at present, the land is being degraded. That means the grade or the quality of the land or soil is going downwards because of human activities. Maybe because we are using too much of pesticides, fertilizers, and too much of irrigation and so on. All these things can spoil the quality of the land. So at present it is going on in a very rapid way. The degradation is going on. So we must check it. Why is the quality of the soil is going down? Then we must find the solution, and we must stop all these things that are degrading the soil. Then what we need to do is we need to do afforestation. Afforestation means opposite of deforestation. Deforestation means cutting down the trees. So afforestation means planting of trees. So we must plant more trees. And we need to do the land reclamation. So some of the land is considered as a waste. because we throw waste there, or because maybe the waste from the factory and other things are entering into that land, that soil is completely spoiled. So we need to reclaim that soil by purifying it, by removing the waste from there and putting certain chemicals there, so that the land will become fertile again. So if you go and throw waste in one place, then that land will become too much fertile, over fertile, and nothing will grow there. So we need to remove those things, and we need to put some alkali or something. Then we need to normalize that soil so that it can be used for cultivation. Then we need to do regulated use of chemical pesticides and fertilizers. So at present, people who want to get maximum harvest, they go on putting a lot of pesticides and fertilizers and so on. So we must regulate it. So should not use too much. Must use only what is necessary, just for helping to produce. So if you keep on using more, what happens? Afterwards, the land will become useless, and without the help of fertilizers, the soil will not be able to produce anything. Then we have to buy more and more fertilizers, and the production cost will go higher, the price of the things will go higher, and afterwards the food item, the food grain that we eat also will be filled with chemicals. So it will not be good for health. Therefore, we need to control and check the use of fertilizers, pesticides and so on. Then we also must check on overgrazing. Another dangerous thing that is affecting the soil degradation is, or soil is, that overgrazing. Animals are overgrazing it. So we must not send the animal again and again to the same place to eat. So when they eat again and again in the same place, what happens? They pull out even the little root of the grass. So the soil is completely bare, exposed. There is no more protection for the soil. And when one rain comes, all the soil will be washed away. So that becomes a very problematic. All the topsoil will be washed away if it is overgrazed by the cattle. And then these are some of the methods, common methods that we can use in order to protect and conserve the land resources. So it's all very common things. There is nothing hard about it. So what are they? First of all, we need to check the degradation of the land by afforestation, by planting trees. Then we must reclaim, we must bring back the land that is abandoned, saying that this land is wasteland, this is useless land. So all those land we must reclaim, we must bring it back for using, for cultivating and so on. Then another thing that we can do is, we must check. We should not use simply too much of pesticides and chemical fertilizers and so on. We must check and we must use only what is necessary. Then what we can do is, we can check the overgrazing of cattle in the same place. So if these things are done, then we can say the quality of the soil will continue to remain. The land resource will be continue to remain conserved, preserved, and will be able to use for many more years. Otherwise, the land become useless very soon, and we will not be able to do anything, or will not be able to cultivate anything on that land for a long time. Now let us see some cases about the degradation of land. For example, let us say about landslides. What is landslide? How the landslide is taking place, and so let us see. So landslides are simply defined as the mass movement of rocks, debris or earth down a slope. You can underline what is a landslide. So what is a landslide? It is a mass movement of rock, debris or earth down a slope. So a mass movement means a big movement of the land, the rock or the debris to a slopey place. So from slope it will be going downwards. So that is called landslide. Not a small piece of land is falling down, we don't call it landslide. So such a vast area, a big large area is which maybe it is full of rocks, or maybe it is the soil, or maybe it is debris. Debris means all the waste, everything that is put there. So all these may be falling down from top to down, it may be moving down. That is called landslide. So you can underline and learn what is a landslide. Then they often take place in conjunction with earthquakes, floods and volcanoes. So very often these earthquakes are taking place in conjunction means together or combined with, when there is an earthquake or when there is a volcano or when there is flood, these landslide also take place. Very often landslide does not take place by itself. When there is an earthquake, it is possible because of that shaking of the earth, landslide can take place. Or when there is a volcano bursting, then all that area of the soil may be going down. Or when there is a flood, the mud can be washed away with water and so on. So remember, the landslide does not take place on itself, on its own, but when there is an earthquake or volcano or flood, together with that, the landslide also is taking place. Then a prolonged spell of rainfall can cause heavy landslide that can block the flow of river for quite some time. So when there is a heavy rain, from the bank of the river, the soil will fall down into the river and will block the river. And for some time, the flow of the river can be blocked, or the water of the river can be blocked when there is a big landslide. And the formation of river blocks can cause havoc to the settlements downstream on its bursting. So the soil fall down into the river and the water is blocked there, and the water level is rising higher and higher. Then when the water level is very high, the bund will be broken. The soil that is falling into the river, it will give way because the water power is more strong and it cannot block anymore, and the mud will give way and all the water will be rushing downside. So it is dangerous for people who are living nearby there. Their house, their property, everything may be affected. So that is another dangerous thing because of this landslide. Then in the hilly terrain, landslides have been major and widely spread natural disaster that often strike life and property and occupy a position of major concern. So some of the areas, the hilly areas, when the landslide is taking place, very often the road will be washed away, the entire road. Sometimes I am sure you might have seen the videos or newspaper and so on. The entire road is cracked and falling down, and then people have no more way to go that side. So their property can be lost, their house may be there nearby, so all the mud will come and fall onto the house. The people may get injured, or some may die, or their cultivation area, their garden, everything may be lost, everything may be spoiled. So in the hilly region, this landslide is a very serious case. It is a matter of great concern, serious concern, how to control these landslides, because it is a great threat to the life of the people and to the property of the people. Let us come to a case where a landslide occurred. So let us come to a real case study. So a massive landslide hit Pankhi village near Rakongpyo in Kinnaur district of Himachal Pradesh and damaged a 200-meter stretch of all Hindustan-Tibet road. So we are talking about a place in Himachal Pradesh called Kinnaur, and there was a landslide, a heavy landslide was there, and especially in the Pankhi village. The village name is Pankhi, and a very heavy landslide. The landslide was some 200-meter long road was washed away. So you can imagine 200 meter means such a long distance, almost 2 kilometers maybe. So it is so much area, the land was washed away, the road was washed away, and it was the Hindustan-Tibet National Highway 22. So it is a national highway. How important it is for people to pass to the other side, and because of this landslide, the road transport was heavily affected. Then this landslide was triggered by intense blasting at Banki village. So the main cause why this such a big large landslide took place was there was blasting in the village, blasting of the rocks. So people who are running quarry, they want to break the rock and use it for building their house or constructing roads and other things. They need chips, they want to make the stone chips. Therefore they were putting bomb and blasting the rocks. So blasting so many times, the earth was shaken and slowly the road was washed away. The crack came and the road fell down. Not such a short distance, but for 200 meters distance. So it was the problem, people who were blasting the rocks. So they were responsible for this destruction of this soil. And due to the blasting, the weak zone of slope collapsed and caused intense damage to the roads and nearby villages. So because of this blasting, it happened, it caused such a great damage to that road, and the people, all the nearby villages, they were all affected. They cannot use that land in the road anymore, and quite many houses were lost because such a long distance, 200-meter distance, the entire soil fell down. Downside there were many houses were there because it's a village setup. So many houses were there on the roadside. All of them were affected. And the Panki village was completely vacated to avoid a possible loss of life. So the government and other NGOs, they evacuated the people from that village. All the people from that Panki village, they were shifted to another place because that place is no more safe. The landslide will come again maybe. So those who survived also may even get next time affected by another landslide. So it is better to shift all those people to another safe place where they will be able to stay safe, will be able to live peacefully without any worry or anything. So that is an example to show that because of human activities, earlier we studied the landslides are occurring because of earthquake or volcano or flood. That is natural things, we cannot control anything. But human activities also can cause this landslide. That is the example that we saw the Pangi village in Himachal Pradesh. Because of human activities of blasting bombs to break the rock, the entire area was shaken and cracks developed and all the soil fell down and caused landslide. And the people had to be shifted to another place so that they will be safe there. So that is an example of a massive landslide. How human activities also can affect the landslide. Now let us come to know about the mitigation mechanism. So how to prevent this landslide, how to protect the life or preserve the life in the case if there is a landslide. So advancement in scientific technique has empowered us to understand what factors cause landslides and how to manage them. And some broad mitigation techniques of landslide are as follows. So we know now, the ministry is there, forecast, they are able to give forecast that there may be flood or there may be rain, there may be thunder. So all kinds of things they are able to predict. So the meteorological department, People who study about the movement of the earth, they are able to predict us that what are the things going to take place. It is all because of the development of technology. So they are able to tell us by the modern science, with the help of the modern technology, they are able to tell us about the landslides. Therefore, if you make use of them, we can preserve or we can save ourselves from being affected during landslides. So let's see what are the methods they are suggesting. So first one is hazard mapping to locate areas prone to landslides. So we need to draw a map of the area where the landslide can take place. So because of the technology we can find out the mud is strong or not. If the mud is loose means sure to take place the landslide. So we need to draw the map, the areas, these are the areas possible to have earthquakes. And such areas can be avoided for building settlement. So if you once make map and identify that these areas are very vulnerable, there's a possible of landslide in this area, then we can inform to the people, don't make your house there, don't make your other settlements there, don't make any building there, because there is a possibility of landslide this side. So that way we can escape from being affected in the landslide. So that is the one thing. Make a map and inform the people that not to make house there. Then the second thing that we can do is construction of retention wall to stop land from slipping. So if there is a landslide possibility is there, landslide is always from top to down. So downside make a wall to protect. It is called retention wall. So if the mud is very steep, for cut, maybe for making road we have cut the rock, the soil. So below that make a wall in order to protect. If the wall is there means mud will not fall down. The wall will block the soil. So that is the second method. Then the third one is increase in the vegetation cover to arrest landslides. Another thing is we need to increase the vegetation cover. Vegetation means the trees and the other plants. So if you plant more trees, the roots of the trees will go deep into the soil and they will protect the soil. If the root is there, then soil will not fall down. So plant more trees where there is a chance of landslide, so that these roots will hold the soil together, will not allow the landslide to take place. Then another thing is the surface drainage control works to control the movement of landslides along with rainwater and spring flows. So another thing when the landslide takes place is where there is a water flow. When there is rain, heavy rain, flood and so the water will be flowing everywhere and the mud becomes soft and the mud will slowly fall down. So very often we will find the landslides are taking place during the rainy season. Because of too much rain, the soil becomes very soft and then the land is falling down. So if you make proper drain, proper nala, then water will go only through that way. The entire area will not become flood or wet by the rain, but the rainwater will be gathered into the drain and it will be flowing to the river through the drain. So all the other area will be safe. So these are some of the steps that we can use in order to protect the soil, preserve the soil from being slided, getting landslide and causing damage to life and property and so on. So these are simple things, and as you learn, I hope you will be able to practice it in your life. As you grow up, you need to take step into the life. So you are small now, you may not be able to do construction of nala or making a map and so on, but we can do one thing, plant trees. So that is not a very big effort. So you can collect the seeds and you can plant. If you find some area where the land is not strong, it is very soft land, then plant more trees there in proper line, so that that area will be protected by the roots of the tree. That way the land will remain safe. So we shall wind up for today, and Next class we will study again about the soil, how important soil is, how the soil will be formed, and so that is what we are going to study in the next class. So thank you for listening. Have a nice day. Bye.